So, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Matt Moline. I'm with Grit Technologies. I got my friends Chris Duran as well as Matthew Kleist coming out here. We are the AI guys. A lot of conversations, especially in the last, uh, year, few months, couple weeks, we've been having in regards to artificial intelligence. How do we use it? What do we not know that we need to know in regards to security, all of that. So we decided, hey, let's get everybody together. Let's get our partners, together. Let's have a good conversation with this. So, a couple ground rules. This is going to be interactive. As you guys can see, you guys will have your cam and mic access enabled on there. If you can, just for now, stay unmuted. There is going to be a Q&A section after this. Myself, along with Chris and Matthew, we're going to be sharing some examples and actually showing you some real world stuff, like actually how we're using AI. We are going to take about anywhere from about 10 to 15 minutes each just to kind of talk about, each section. And then we'll kind of get into some examples and then really open up for more tailored discussions as we proceed here. So I just want to say thank you to everybody for coming out. And so with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to start with Matthew. So Matthew, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? I will relinquish sharing on my screen and I will let you go ahead and get started. You're on mute, buddy.
Sorry about that. Okay. Hey everyone, welcome. Thanks for joining us here. It's a bringing together of ideas of what people have been doing using AI for and success, and just kind of swapping notes, sharing stories, and teaching what we've learned. So my name is Matthew Kleist. I'm with Identity Creative. We're a branding and marketing firm that helps businesses mostly exclusively in the B2B space communicate effectively with their target audience. So a little bit about me and how I've been using AI, a little bit about my history. So I started using AI long before like ChatGPT. I used to own and operate a video production company. We'd utilize it for like restoring and uprising footage. And so we were always kind of staying on the cusp of it. So when ChatGPT came out, we began using it to help us with like coaching, help us with our tone, voice, writing scripts, stuff like that. And then sold out of that business, joined up with Identity Creative. And my goal here is to utilize to drive sales and increase business operations efficiency. And so obviously I take my experience with building automations and systems at my video production company and utilizing AI to do that now. This is a very exciting time because we have tools like Gen AI and Agentic AI. These are the types of things that we're going to kind of get in today. I'm going to try and move as quickly as possible. So it's going to be kind of like drinking from a fire hose. Feel free to take screenshots. Feel free to stop me or flag me. But we will have a Q&A at the end. And we're also, like Matt said, we're willing to stay later in case anybody wants to have follow-up conversations. So, all right, let's get into it. So understanding AI, really, we're starting from principles. I don't know if you guys know this, but this is what Legos used to be. Wooden toys. Basically, you get a toy and that's it. In essence, this is what we had before AI tools really came out. We were given an off-the-shelf tool to use, and that was what the tool did, what we were told it did. So we were kind of limited there. Now it's almost like going from that to what Legos became, which is infinite opportunity to build so you're only limited by your imagination. That's a way to think about AI. And so what that means is as you begin to explore use cases, it's almost like two kids building Legos and saying, look what I built. No way, I didn't think about that. Yesterday on our call, as we were preparing for this, we were talking about use cases. And I'm like, I use AI every single day. And I'm like, I didn't think about that. So that's sort of the mindset that we need to have as we move forward with AI, is a very collaborative approach. I'm going to go through these quickly, but we talk about principles and best practices. This is in a lot of ways where people should be starting with AI. Don't think about, okay, how can it save me money? That's a good question to ask, but what's more important is what pitfalls should I be avoiding? So first off, we saw this in the 90s, is there's so much hype, right? you got people on one end saying, "Oh, AI is going to usher in an era of utopia unlike that we've never seen before," and then you got people on the other side selling this whole dystopian thing, saying things like, "We're all going to be unemployed in 3 years." Dialogue like this is not profitable for those of us trying to adopt AI. And so my biggest call out here is discern the hype. Be careful who you're listening to and try to get a mix of perspectives, right? Another one I get asked a lot. People say, "Well, they see what I'm doing with AI, and they're like, well, how do I get to that point? Where do I even begin?" And this, I always keep coming back to this principle. You use AI to get better with AI. So if you don't know where to start with a ChatGPT or Copilot or Gemini or whatever your LLM of choice is, and start asking that. Tell it what you do. Tell it how you want, what you're hoping for, and then just you begin to get smarter from there. The other thing too, this is a very interesting point, but they did a study and they showed that people who for new users of AI, if somebody is using it and they're only treating it like a tool, they tend to use and abuse it, and they don't get as good of results. They tend to quit it very easily. They say, "Oh, I tried, it didn't work that good." But if you were to treat it like it's a teammate, even though it is a tool, you inherently prompt better. You inherently give it the tools and the direction that it needs. And for your benefit, you're going to be having more patience with it. And that's something that a lot of AI adoption, what's critical to AI adoption is patience, right? All right. We've all seen this movie, right? Jurassic Park. Everybody remembers. I grew up on this movie. But with the famous line, you spent all this time figuring out if you could do it, and you didn't stop to ask yourself if you should, right? This is what we tell people all the time. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. We, as branding and marketing experts, we're always telling people that it has everything to do with your brand and how you're communicating. And so everything comes back to that. So moving on from that, and then now I want to talk about framework and tools. And this is where I'm going to have to move very quickly. There's a lot of content here. Feel free to take screenshots. I believe also, Matt, are we going to be able to have this download for our slides available?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely. Yeah, we'll
awesome.
have a link with all this information plus recording, all that as well.
And just as a side note, I'm giving this to you high level. We can spend an entire workshop on any one of these tools, or any one of these slides. So, um, a very simplistic approach to adopting AI for your business is looking at it like a five-fold framework, right? You've got, if you were to break up your business into 5 groups, you got leadership, marketing, sales, operations, and finance. So the way how we're approaching AI is looking at that five-fold grouping and saying, okay, what tools can we use to make this side of the business run more efficiently? What tools can we use to make this side of the business run more efficiently? So this right here, feel free to screenshot it. These are just 3 tools per business segment that you can leverage today and start using. Some of them are free tools or have a free entry level, but other ones have more paid tiers. And obviously, the more you pay, the better service you get from these tools. I'm not going to get into it for sake of time. I don't want to, but if we want later, if we've got more time, we can dive into these tools. Okay. Now, when you're understanding cost savings, this is a really good approach to cost savings. People think, oh, they hear this tool, oh, this can do this. And then they think, in theory, I could save time or save money or labor costs by doing X, Y, and Z. And so they think, is this possible? And then you ask your LLM, and your LLM says, yeah, it's possible. And then that's all people really need to know. It's like, then let's do it. And then they dump money into it. We're seeing use cases where businesses, international companies, are losing massive valuation because they lay off an entire call center because, okay, well, now we have agentic AI that can handle all of our calls. Well, they didn't stop to think, going back to that question, just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? Unfortunately, in that situation, they lost a ton of revenue because people were calling in, and the nuance issues that AI had not been fully trained to do could not help the people. It could help general use cases, but it couldn't help the specific nuance cases. And they lost a ton of customer relationship, that brand equity fell dramatically, and who knows, maybe they'll never recover. So when you're understanding cost savings, you have to assess it, then prioritize. And I have a little worksheet that I'll give you after this slide that helps you kind of do like a little bit of exercises. And then and then integrate it, and then you have to measure it. You can't just say, let's just try this tool and then never really do much with it, because then you're not going to see success out of it. So here's a little bit of a worksheet that we had created, as just like how to do this and kind of test it out. So you write down a task that you dislike or something that's costing you time, and kind of be able to quantify exactly what this looks like. Then you understand, by kind of creating a little bit of a reward, like what will this give us if we solve this or can automate it. And then using your LLM of choice, which LLM is a large language model. That's anything from Grok, ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, whatever it is, Claude. There's many out there. You ask it, and you have to be very careful when you're assessing it, because it will just tell you from a binary standpoint, yes or no, it's not possible, without telling you how much time, how much energy, how much expertise, how much money is going to go into this problem solve. Matt, how am I doing on time? 11:15 or?
You're good. No,
Okay.
you're good. Yep.
Okay. All right. And then finally, you kind of put it on the calendar and you say, when are we going to attempt this? When are we going to try and solve this problem? Right. So then, moving on. Sorry, I told you we'd be drinking from a fire hose here. This is an AI roadmap is a very critical component for adopting this as part of into your business, right? And this is kind of something that we've laid out. This is something that we built for ourselves, and but we've generalized it so anybody can utilize it. So you start with the dreamer phase, right? And then the dreamer is just somebody who hasn't even really tried using the tools, but has aspirations of maybe being able to utilize it, or maybe you're a little bit of fearful of what it can do. The dabbler is a person who's actually just trying it, maybe has a free ChatGPT subscription. The builder is somebody who's actually utilizing it and adopting it as part of their day-to-day. The operator is somebody who's actively leaning on it. And then the architect is somebody who is building systems so reliable that if you were to take those away, their business begins to fall apart. And I know somebody might look at that as a massive vulnerability, but I say it's the same as electricity, right? Or computers. If your computer shut down, if your electricity goes out, most people can't run their businesses. And so I'm predicting that we're going to get to a point of AI adoption where businesses and individuals are as dependent on it as they are on electricity. And I'm going to be a little bit extreme here. I think that that's a good aspiration to get to, is where you are as dependent on AI as you are on electricity. So this right here, feel free to screenshot this. This is a very robust tool that we utilize. I probably refer to this on a weekly basis, where we look at, okay, where are we in the phases and what do we need to do to get to the next phase? Right now, we are currently halfway between the enablement and the integration, or the builder and the operator phase, where I'm using a lot of agentic tools. I'm having a lot of efficiency, saving myself a lot of time, being able to do a lot more. But the way how we get to the next phase is once our entire team is utilizing all of these tools to the point where they can't function without it, right? All right, so moving on from there, Matt, do I have time for this next one? I want to make sure I'm leaving time for you guys. Okay.
Yeah,
and
we'll give you another. We started a little later, so definitely take a few more minutes.
Okay.
Yep.
This is more of a team building exercise. For those of you who have teams of people that you want to adopt AI, but you want to make sure that you're getting your team together around it, because a man convinced against his will is of the same opinion still, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So this will kind of help you understand your team a little bit better. This is like a little bit of a rough disc profile to understand who in your team is positioned, or how they're positioned from their perspective. So I'm going to fly through these. So you've got those who are excited. You've got those who are fearful. You've got those who are just simply annoyed. And then those who are completely indifferent, right? And then from there, you have your secondary emotions. And a lot of times, if we're all being honest, we can bounce around these, right? So guys like me, Rick and Chris and Matt, we're all tend to be in the excited to fearful category. And so we have to check ourselves, and this is how you check yourself. This is how you check your team. If you're finding that you've got team members who are maybe overly excited, or sorry, and so we want to all be in the healthy adoption right in the middle. So if you've got team members who are overly excited, encourage some skepticism. I know that sounds a little odd, but encourage skepticism because they can maybe drive you in an unhealthy direction where you're adopting tools before you're able to even understand them. If you're a little bit of fearful, if you got team members who are fearful, they're like, you understand, haven't you seen the Terminator series? We're wiping ourselves out right now. You get a lot of that out there. Ask them to be rational. Look at what the AI researchers are actually saying about these tools and the actual threat it is to humanity, or even to your job in general, right? So encourage them to be rational. If you've got those who are annoyed, you have to encourage pragmatism. They have to see its usefulness. They have to have that aha moment where they see the magic of AI, and then they're like, okay, now I'm on board. And then for those who are completely indifferent, encourage them to be curious, get their heads out of the sand. Just because you bury your head in the sand doesn't mean it stops the danger. There is danger, obviously, which is, yes, as AI tools advance and agentic use becomes more and more commonplace, people who don't adopt these tools are going to find it harder and harder to compete. So this is just kind of like, feel free to screenshot this. This is a matrix that we use for our own team members to make sure that we're all embracing healthy adoption of AI. With that, this is what I like to tell people. Your brain, you're already telling a story. Let's make sure that it's the right one, right? That's just that QR code there. If you want to visit our website, go ahead and scan that. And then, yeah, any questions? We probably don't have time. So I know I threw a lot at you guys. So yeah, we can talk more offline or after this.
No, we'll go ahead and we'll save questions to the end. So definitely write that down. Put a pin in it real quick, and we'll get to those in just a little bit later. But Matt, thanks for that. I will tell you that all of those things that you had put up on there, I'm telling you, I think I feel all four of those at the same time every once in a while too. So it's like
I do too.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think everybody has that kind of that focus right now, which is great. I'm gonna go ahead and get my screen shared here because I'm going to talk about the most exciting topic of this, which is in regards to security, which is everybody's favorite thing to talk about. So let me go ahead and get this up here. So real quick, so my name is Matt Moline. So I head up our sales and marketing here over at Grit Technologies. I like to tell people I know enough to be dangerous. Been in the technology field or at least in the MSP space for 7 years now. Prior to that, I had a little bit of some Apple retail experience and other areas of technology throughout my life. So, like I said, no, love tech. Love everything that's happening with AI. Definitely have that here, that fearful presence about it as well. But hopefully, what I'm going to talk about, which is going to be about security, is going to give you guys a little more comfort. Because obviously there's a lot of people adopting these tools. I'm really hopefully going to tell you some things, maybe some stuff that you should know and maybe don't know. Yeah, we'll take it from the IT security side. So Grid Technologies, so we're based out of Clinton Township. We also have an office over in Grand Rapids and also our newest location that we just launched just this other week down in Fort Myers, Florida. Everything IT, help desk support, all of that. We're here to help small to mid-sized businesses. So framing AI and security. Let's talk about this. I think it's really exciting. Some of the stuff that's come out, ChatGPT coming out, like kind of the big one, all the other integrations and stuff within, across, construction and manufacturing and marketing and everything. It's amazing. But as these tools come out, or any new technology comes out, it seems like there's a quick like, hey, let's go, let's get going. There's all these new exciting things. We're more competitive. It's more, it's more easier to use, that type of stuff. It sometimes leaves IT teams scrambling to make sure that we're following good compliance and making sure that there's no open back doors, that type of stuff. So what I want to do is really give you guys just a quick picture here. And when I talk about a business to people, one of the things we talk about, one of the terms we use is called an attack surface. So at the center of everything is the heart and of your business, and out of that business, you've got different pieces of technology. You've got what we call endpoints. That's your laptops, that's your desktops. That's equipment that you guys use to run your business, like your servers and things like that. If you run any type of on-premise type of servers, that's what we call like a traditional perimeter. We obviously need to make sure like that stuff is secure. Things outside of that, more of that modern enterprise type of tier, we go into things like your custom software applications, any cloud-based application that you guys are running, your business, CRMs, that type of stuff, different identities, your website, all of that is all part of that tier. And then the expanding attack surface is things like your vendors, your supply chain. We hear about supply chain breaches quite often these days. Things about the dark web and credentials being stolen off of the dark web, and even physical security now. Your door locks, your door access controls, and all of that stuff is all part of the expanding attack surface. So as an IT team, it's very important to not only focus on the endpoints and the end users to make sure that they're safe and protected. But we got to worry about all this other stuff too, because these are all potential avenues or doorways that are going to get into your business. And if you notice at the top, AI is now also interlinked to all of this now, which is exciting because there's a lot of new innovations. But also, it's pretty scary because everything is linked to it, and there's a potential for a downstream type of attack as things progress and as we keep adapting these tools and keep utilizing them. So I want to have this graphic to kind of give you guys that representation that it's not just about when your people or whatever. There is a holistic view that you need to have. Call it a 10,000-foot view when it comes to securing a business across all of this, because AI is going to be, if it's not already today, it will be interlinked to everything else moving forward. Some of the big security concerns, and I kind of already talked about that, is data leakage from just unapproved usage, phishing and deep fake risks in result of these AI tools that we're probably seeing some news stories and headlines about. You've probably seen some of that stuff. Just AI model positioning and just overall manipulation, and a new thing called shadow AI tools, just bypassing IT governance. So just completely bypassing what the IT teams have already set up. So what is shadow AI? And this is a really big one. And I bet you more than anything, all of you here have some sort of shadow AI in your business today. About 68% of employees, a recent survey came out that about 68% of employees admit to using AI tools without any type of IT approval. So what is it? It's basically unapproved AI usage. So these are employees or teams adopting tools like ChatGPT, which we're talking about a lot, uh, tools like Copilot, Perplexity, DeepSeek, whatever. There's hundreds of them now. Again, IT is there's no process in place or approval process in place to make sure that these systems being used are in check. The potential issue is that data exposure is a big risk. So what do I mean by that? Basically, if anything that you put into like ChatGPT and you have the free version, anything you put into that is now public information. That's the biggest thing. So if somebody takes some financial records or takes some, confidential information about, say about a client or whatever, and uses it for whatever need, it uploads that into that program, it's now out there and now it's accessible. That's one big issue when it comes to these types of programs, is that the fortress that I showed in the last graphic that we set up to protect the business, this completely bypasses a lot of that, and that could potentially be used to harm you. And ultimately, it's just a lack of oversight because there is no real management of these types of tools or monitoring of these tools. So the visibility of this and the potential for those vulnerabilities is very high. So basically, there is a security gap right now. And when I talk about traditional IT, I kind of already talked about this, but we have things in place like your firewalls, your antivirus, your endpoint detection, backups and patching and dark web monitoring. The list goes on, right? It's the big thing here is we ultimately need to get to a place of cyber resiliency where it's not reactive, it's a proactive approach where we have AI enhancing all of these. So essentially combating AI issues with AI is ultimately where things are coming in, where we have real-time detection, real incident response, and rapid recovery if an event does actually happen. So I talked about kind of some of the issues of shadow AI in that area. And I kind of want to talk about just a little bit about cybercrime in general and how cyber attackers are actually using AI, actually using things like ChatGPT and Perplexity and all these other LLMs out there. Um, the big thing I want to point out here is that these programs basically the tactics themselves of like phishing and how they gain entry into an organization through that social manipulation and through impersonating high level personnel and things like that, and we call that phishing. Those tactics haven't changed really. What has happened is AI has really broadened the gap when it comes to just language barriers, just overall just communication skills. It's lowered the barrier of entry for everybody. The big thing that we've seen is that since the induction of programs like ChatGPT, which I believe was November of 2022, we've seen over a 1,200% increase in these types of attacks. So the big thing for a small to mid-sized business to understand is that it's not that the tactics really have changed much. It's just that they're getting a lot better and a lot more frequent, and we're seeing a lot more of this just start hammering businesses day in and day out. And the last line of your defense is going to be your end user or your employee, and that's where things are really going to really be messy. So we're going to get into what you guys can do, down the line here in a minute. But like I said before, it's all about they've really lowered the barrier of entry. Really anybody at this point can become a cyber criminal overnight and start trying to use some of these tactics, for whatever reason. Um, and again, it's happening at a scale and a speed that as humans, we cannot keep up. And that's why having these proactive tools in place is really going to be important as you guys move forward. Um, and as you guys, push your business forward, as you guys go into the new AI revolution. Just some of the things I kind of was hinting at. Cyber criminals are using like jailbreak, ChatGPT, basically bypassing those safeguards. You can't like prompt like ChatGPT, for example, to like, hey, go write a malware for me to infect a business. It's obviously going to stop you from doing that, but there's workarounds and things that they're doing. So it's a very big, cat and mouse game. They even have their own variations of their own GPTs out there. This one has been shut down, but this was basically a actual AI program that was on the dark web called WormGP, and it was just like ChatGPT, but it had all of the safeguards completely bypassed, and these guys were just using it for all sorts of nefarious activity. When it comes to selecting, if you guys are really considering like an LLM, like Perplexity, ChatGPT, whatever, you really need to do your due research. And I just wanted to talk about just some of the key privacy and security differences. I'm using two examples here. One very familiar, ChatGPT, and another one you might have heard about or might not, called DeepSeek. But basically, as you guys are looking and evaluating these types of um, programs or any type of AI program, you really need to understand where things are going to be essentially hosted. So, for example, like ChatGPT is hosted in the United States. It follows all of the regulations that go along with that. The DeepSeek option that is a free version out there, it's in China. There could be a lot of issues with that as far as the data and stuff that's put into that program. The other thing is that the DeepSeek uh, product, for example, is an open source, meaning the source code is open, meaning you can be potentially manipulated. Where obviously it's not with a ChatGPT model. So if you guys are going to incorporate this, you guys are going to start looking at, using these types of products into your business. It's really important to engage your IT teams or your MSP and to really do that thorough check and just make sure everything's balanced. Like, is it like where is the information going to be, stored? What's, basically, is this just a cheap, version? Is this something that's enterprise that we can use and it's safe and secure? The list goes on. So the question I want to really kind of have you guys ask is, is as, the threats become more accessible and sophisticated, ultimately, the traditional defense is really going to need a fundamental shift. How we approach overall security, cybersecurity, and AI. Um, it really needs to change. The good news, though, is that there is a framework. And so if you're asking the question like, Matt, I understand that, ultimately, like, what can we do about this? Like, how do we go about incorporating AI and using all of the benefits, but also being secure? I'm going to give it to you right now. So you probably heard of this, but this is what we call the NIST cybersecurity framework. NIST is the National Institute of Standards and Technology. It's a US agency that sets the frameworks and standards for cybersecurity, risk management, and now artificial intelligence, which I believe this came in 2023. They just updated everything for the AI risk management and framework, or also for short, AI RFM 1.0. You can Google that, go check that out. But it covers everything in regards to traditional IT in really five different pillars or categories. Uh, I'm not going to go through all of this because we'll be here for 3 hours, and I don't think anybody wants me to talk about that. But the ultimately what it's about is it's really it makes you and your team really follow a process of really identifying all of the assets and everything in a business. Once you understand what you have, because you can't protect what you don't know you have out there, then you can look at as far as what things you need to put in place to protect, what systems and solutions and AI you can put in there for monitoring and network detection when it comes to the detection. Ultimately, once you got those three done, then you know how to respond to these things. If there was a leak or a breach of some type, now you have an incident response plan. Now you guys know, how fast you can get these things isolated and taken care of, and ultimately how you recover is the last part of that. And this is not a stagnant practice. This is something that is reoccurring. It's a big circle. So this always needs to be continually updated and done. And this is the type of thing that we do for all of our clients. And AI is definitely the big topic right now. And that's kind of the next part is like, AI readiness. I just want to leave you guys with a couple last few things here, and then I'll hand it over to Chris, which I'm really excited about because Chris is going to start showing us some cool examples here, which I think a lot of people are really here for. A couple of my thoughts I just want to share is that if you guys are looking to incorporate an LLM model, I encourage you to not try like just the free version or whatever. ChatGPT being one of them, it's one of my favorites. That's why it's also on the list. They do have like enterprise level like cloud options now to where you guys can do that. Where you guys can incorporate, team atmosphere. It is safe. It's got all the standards, everything you need built in. There are options to actually bring that actually in-house within your own four walls as well, to where you guys can have that hosted, and there's a kind of a private foundation that they are allowing that with. But I will say probably with the majority of people, and the big one on the screen there are probably going to adapt probably Microsoft Copilot, because it's going to fit the bill of everything. It's going to help marketing teams. It's going to help with content creation, data analytics. It's going to integrate specifically within Microsoft 365's platform. And it's just going to do a lot for us. Admit that I'm still very new when it comes to Copilot, but it's pretty amazing what it's going to do. So it's going to be there for all your content creation. If you guys are doing blogs and social media stuff, all of that's going to be available. It's in there. But again, it's going to work directly with Word, Excel, Teams. You have the enterprise security built in. So when we go back to that NIST framework, this fits the bill perfectly. So it's obviously going to be a really good piece for everybody. The last thing here, just a couple slides, is the outside of like all the tools, the frameworks, everything else. The big thing you can do as an organization is get your guys and your people trained, security training and awareness. Do it in person, do it regularly. Do something in person regularly, like on a quarterly basis. Do those, simulated tests and stuff like that on a, monthly basis. But really have people go through those do and don't do guidelines. Really encourage a culture of, trust but verify, everything. And the big thing is really get executive buy-in, which is going to be critical. Get leadership to really buy into this. and set the standard for how you guys are going to incorporate IT into your business. So just to wrap it up, key takeaways I want you guys to really focus on is just really balance the innovation with a healthy bit of caution. And Matt kind of talked about this too. So that's going to be really important. Use standard frameworks. NIST, ISO standards are really going to help you guys out and really protect the business. Really protect AI data, and the access that it gets. Ultimately, train your guys as employees, get leadership buy-in, and again, trust and verify any type of AI decisions as you guys move forward. So, thank you so much for that. Without further ado, I will go ahead and I will stop sharing. And Chris, my man, you are up.
Me? I gotta go now?
You got to go now, man.
All right. Well, first of all, hi to some of my friends, Stacy Minoski, Promo Paul. Some of our Auburn Hills Chamber friends are here. Some of my Vistage friends are here. Hi, Brett. The real point of my part of this presentation is to be interactive and to help you guys understand. While the three smart guys are here, I'm the guy that's like the 15-year-old at the Grateful Dead show that's just running around trying new things. And like, ooh, that's pretty. Ooh, that's bright. I wonder what that tastes like. Like, I'm the guy that's just trying stuff to see if it breaks. So what I really want to do is, if any of you are willing, come off a mute, turn your camera on, and let's make this more of a workshop where you get to ask me questions about what I've tried or how do I or any of that kind of stuff, because I'll start with this, and Maggie, I'm going to pick on you because I know. Does anyone know Maggie Varney? Nobody's got their cameras, so I can't do show of hands. Maggie runs Wigs for Kids, okay? And what Maggie does is she has guys like me and girls like you grow their hair out long, and then we cut it and we donate it for wigs for children that are suffering from cancer, alopecia, whatever it might be. Maggie, 10 years ago, I grew my hair down to the middle of my back, and we did a big donation and all this kind of stuff. So I really have a soft spot in my heart for her charity and for charities in general. So here's an example of a way that I'm using AI to support charities. Anyone ever know the Troy Chamber of Commerce? So a lot of us know the Auburn Hills Chamber, the Rochester Chamber, those chambers here in town. But the Troy Chamber of Commerce does a nonprofit conference every year. Okay. And so I got to stop saying okay. I sound like the guy from South Park. The Troy Chamber of Commerce does a nonprofit conference every year. And for, 3 out of the last 6 years, I've spoken at it. And whenever they come to me and they say, hey, Chris, fundraising is a lot like sales. Could you take some of your sales coaching training techniques and put it into a talk for fundraisers? I go, yeah, absolutely. No problem. And then I go, geez, what the hell am I going to talk about? So I'm going to show you how I use some of these tools, because I want to remind you, within AI, I use AI not because I'm smarter than anyone else. It's because I'm lazier than everyone else. I make it do the work for me. So here's an example. I can share my screen, right, guys?
Yeah.
If I go to here, and I'm going to go to a window that's, here we go, Grok. I use Grok. Matt talks about some of the other ones. Here's an example, okay? I went to Grok and said, what's a good title for a talk? Can everyone see my screen? Am I sharing?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay. What's a good title for a talk to nonprofits about picking up the phone and calling donors? Dialing for dollars, building stronger donor relationships through personal calls. Okay, Grok, what about if I'm using Sandler training techniques? Mastering donor calls, boosting fundraising success with Sandler training techniques. Okay, now write me a 200-word description. In this engaging session, mastering donor calls, boosting fundraising success with Sandler training techniques, nonprofit will discover how to transform their donor outreach through strategic phone call conversations, drawing on the proven Sandler training methodology. What I would have spent hours thinking about, rewriting, kicking the tires on 2 years ago, like I said, I'm not that smart. I'm just that lazy. I went to Grok. It already knows a lot about Sandler. It already knows a lot about what we do. And I said, this is my audience. This is my topic. Give me something. So when Tara and our friends over at the Troy Chamber sent me a text the other day and went, hey, Tuesday is the deadline. We don't have your application yet. You need to get your application in. We want you to speak at this thing. And I went, yeah, I'm just finishing it up. I'm just polishing my app. I hadn't started yet. So I went there and I typed it in. Bam, just like that. Other things that I'm using it for within my world. Here, let's go with my buddy Rick Catron. Rick, is it weird seeing yourself on the screen?
No.
Okay. And Rick, you jump in whenever you want on this one, because Rick uses AI and he's a sales guy just like me. I use a product called ZoomInfo, and it is a paid product. So if you see here, and I go to LinkedIn and I go to Rick, ZoomInfo will tell me his email, his phone number for his company, his cell phone. Is that the right cell phone, Rick?
That is, but it's got me Richard Catron, and nobody's ever called me Dick before. So
it's not
Not to your face,
but pretty darn accurate. So the great thing, this ZoomInfo Copilot, yes, ZoomInfo has Copilot, just like Microsoft has Copilot. I think Microsoft has a dash in theirs, and ZoomInfo is one word.
Mm-hmm.
But if I want to sell to Grit Technologies, when I go here to ZoomInfo, it will tell me, hey, here's important things to know that Rick's company might be struggling with. Potential for sales performance transformation. Given their industry, Grit Technologies might benefit from a systematic sales approach that helps them qualify prospects more effectively, shortening the sales cycles, improve conversion rates. Rick, does that sound relevant in your world and your business?
Yes, it does.
So if you think about sales, and again, this is some Sandler stuff, and I don't want to get too deep into my world. We tend to want to call and pitch features and benefits. What we really do in sales is we solve problems. ZoomInfo can help explain to me what problems Rick might be facing in sales. And more importantly, it'll actually help me write emails based on what he's struggling with. It'll show me some of his competitors. It'll show me where his employees are. ZoomInfo will even show me his org chart, where I can look at where his C-suite is or where the sales organization is. Okay, I just said okay again. I got to stop doing that. But the point is that tools like ZoomInfo plugged into LinkedIn use AI to crawl the web and find everything that there is out there about a prospect. So let me give you another example of how I use it. Any of you, show of hands. Okay, no one's got their camera on. Paul's got his camera on. Paul, do you send emails to prospects?
yes.
And it's a very nice, hi, I'm Paul. This is what I do to solve for problems in your industry, right? So I've got a good tool here. It's one I wrote for a software as a service company, right? Hey, I work in sales. Just to warn you, I hope you give it 30 seconds. I do coaching and training. People that are frustrated with great tech companies, frustrated with the sales part of their business. We're getting leads, but upset that we have a lot of meetings that result in free consulting and the dreaded, I'll think it over. We're sending out a bunch of quotes that we don't hear back on. We're really good at what we do, but we don't know how to find the next customer. We're frustrated because we're not prospecting enough. We're closing on a business, but upset that we're trading dollars for deals. Okay, this is all written for a software as a service company. I can take this and dump it into Grok and say, hey, rewrite this marketing email for a sales leader that does managed IT services. And within 1-2 seconds, it's written me a specific email to send to Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm a big fan of treating people the way they want to be treated. You know, Rick, when we were kids in kindergarten, they told us the golden rule: treat people the way you want to be treated. I'm a big fan in sales of the platinum rule: treat people the way that they want to be treated. So if I know Rick on the DISC scale is a super high I, he's really outgoing, he's really personable, he's more about relationships, I'll say rewrite this email for an I on the DISC scale. Let's supercharge your IT sales. All right, that maybe I wouldn't send that to Rick. Rick, that might be a little too much, but it gives me a much more informal message to a much more relationship-based person. Now, if I know Matt Moline like I know Matt Moline, Matt, you're not a super high on the DISC scale. You're a C. You're more technical. You're more detailed. You want black and white, just the facts, ma'am, right? Same thing. Now rewrite for a high C on DISC. I'm reaching out with a concise sales proposal and would appreciate 30 seconds of your time to review. I'm Chris with Sandler Training, specializing in it will take my words and customize them to a person based on what I perceive their communication style, communication strategy to be. It goes really far to help. Like I said, I'm not really that lazy, but I really like taking shortcuts. Back in the day of doing sales, marketing, prospecting this stuff, writing this stuff out would have taken me all day, because as I'm looking up Rick on LinkedIn, it's going to have those recommended people that I know that maybe Rick knows as well. And I'm going to go down that rabbit hole and forget that I was writing an email to Rick. This gives me a task and it gives me a chance to knock it out right away. Other things I can do within there, and I'm just spitballing this stuff from clients I've worked with. What else do I have in here? Oh, I had a client come to me and go, we've done some Franklin Covey training in the past, and my boss really wants to look at Dale Carnegie for communication skills. What's better, with Sandler? And I can go in here and say, hey, in bullet points, what does Franklin Covey and Dale Carnegie offer for sales training compared to Sandler? What would have taken me hours to figure out how to talk about Sandler compared to those other ones, it's given me the bullet points. It's really good at doing the research for you. And when I say really good at doing the research for you, here's another one that we just came up with on the spot. I have a client. So okay, show of hands. Nobody's got their camera on, but okay. Do any of you still do cold walk-ins? Meaning you drive to somebody's location and you open the door and walk in and say, hi, I'm Kirk. Kirk, what's your business? Come off mute, man.
So I'm the president of an automation supplier company. So basically, we work with automotive. We also have non-automotive segments, but we build custom machines that build our customers' products.
Okay. So tier 1 automotive suppliers?
Yes.
And tier 2?
Yes.
So you build the things that build the things?
Yes.
Awesome. Want to play a quick game on how to send your sales team out to do a cold walk-in?
Sounds good.
All right. Where are you based, Kirk? What city?
Chesterfield, Michigan.
Chesterfield, Michigan. Where's a good industrial complex in Chesterfield, Michigan?
A good industrial complex in Chesterfield, Michigan. What do you mean by that?
So they've got a bunch of offices up front and big buildings in the back with an overhead doors, and they build stuff back there. And you drive down one road, and it's nothing but those production facilities.
Irwin Drive.
Yeah.
Irwin
Drive?
That'd be fine.
Irwin Drive, yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say that too.
So if I say what manufacturers are around Irwin Drive in Chesterfield, Michigan? Advanced Machining, Radiance Aluminum Fence, Prism Plastics, right? Okay, and if I said I want all that do manufacturing, that do automotive.
And this is Brett, side note to that same thing. Can you also put in with 10 to 150 employees?
Yes.
Or,
yes,
2 to 50 million in revenue?
Yeah. And Zoom Info is a better tool than that, because Zoom Info pays for a lot more data. But as we're going through here, it will start showing Kirk, here are the kind of companies that if you're in the area, walk in, say to the person at the front desk, hi, I'm Kirk. I don't know if you've got a no soliciting sign. I'm not trying to sell you internet or phone or office supplies, but I do manufacturing. I do robots. Somebody from a production team here want to talk about what I do, maybe buy them a cup of coffee. Normally, the gatekeeper is open to real people that aren't trying to solicit junk. Okay? Kirk, here's the reason why I came up with this. I have a client. Anyone know the company AEV, American Expedition Vehicles?
Yeah, very well.
Okay. If you've ever seen a Ram or a Jeep that has like giant tires on it and a winch on the front and a roll cage and a light bar, AEV is the one that sells all that extra stuff. So my guy in Colorado was talking about how frustrated he was that he couldn't get to every dealership in the Denver area efficiently because it was just such a nightmare. So I said, okay, give me a list of every Dodge and I'm not Dodge, Ram and Jeep dealers in Denver metro area. All right, Kirk, here's where I'm going with this for you. Address, phone, details, website. Okay? Even better. All right? I want to drive to each of them 5 a day. Give me a schedule to be most efficient with drive time and distance. So if he's saying these guys won't return my calls, these guys are too busy, I said, get up off your ass and go walk in the front door and talk to their parts manager. So we said, okay, Denver City Hall's your day. First day, you're going to Larry Miller. Second day, you're going to AutoNation, Mike Shaw, Christopher's Dodge Ram. Like, this is like the old MapQuest. Brett, did you ever print out MapQuest on college road trips and you actually had those pieces of paper?
I've done that.
Oh
Right?
yeah, my dad had a whole binder full for ice rinks because we
Yeah.
played so much hockey.
Hockey.
He had every
Right.
ice rink
Yeah.
in Metro Detroit, all MapQuest.
Now,
Oh,
Grok has an app on your phone. You can type that in and bookmark it. And when you get in the car on Monday, here's the 5 I'm going to. And then you get in the car on Tuesday, here's the 5 I'm going to. Again, like there's so much stuff. And I'm going to put my LinkedIn in chat. If you're not, you guys can see my screen, my LinkedIn with that fuzzy bearded man doing talking. Okay.
Yep.
How many of you should be doing content to produce your brand, to accelerate your brand, to put info out there? Brett, I'll say specifically to you as an EOS person, right? As you can see this script, where was it? Within the last day, here, I'll do this. Write me a 2-minute vlog for EOS helping. Kirk, what do you guys do? Automation companies.
Yep.
With a growth plan. I want a script. Hey, everybody. Brett Cooley, EOS, Troy, Michigan. This is a message specifically for automation innovators. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're diving into how EOS is the secret weapon automation companies need to skyrocket their growth. If you're ready to scale your business with clarity and focus, stick around for the next 2 minutes. Like, Brett, this is, all you got to do is be a politician up there reading off the teleprompter and you've got content.
Mhm.
So, like,
That's the hardest part, right? Is always thinking, oh, how do I create this content to put out there?
Yep.
Ask
And
it.
there's a product I use called Riverside FM that when I actually have now recorded this, you always think about like, oh, now I've got to edit it. Now I've got to be able to produce it somewhere. I don't do any editing. It has an AI tool that will go in and remove every or okay.
Oh,
It'll
that's
go in
nice.
and it'll pull out every one of those pauses I use. It'll actually put in my intros and my outros. It'll actually transcribe it. Like if you ever watch somebody's content online and it's got the closed caption at the bottom, like every word they're using, I ain't writing that. It's transcripting it for me. Okay. So again, as I say, like, hey, here's how I'm coming up with stuff. I'm like the kid at the Grateful Dead show. It's just like, ooh, let me try this. I'm driving Matt Moline and my security team crazy. But I'm of the attitude of ask for forgiveness, not permission. Now, if you own the company, you need to hire Rick to figure out what you can and can't have your employees do. But if you've got a sales team, here's a stat for you. And I'll actually ask you this. Of the last major purchases you made, I'm saying something more than $10 on Amazon. Did you do research on the product? 98% of purchases over $20, 98% of them, the purchaser has done research online. If your clients are looking you up, why aren't you looking up your clients?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid of AI, guys. It is a great tool to try things, to break things. And here's the thing. When I started using Grok a year ago, 18 months ago, when did Grok come out, Rick?
Oh God, a year plus.
A year plus?
Yeah.
Like, it now knows Chris Druin, and it
Mhm.
knows Sandler, and it will actually suggest things and recommend things based on what I've told it already.
Hey, Chris,
Mine loves me
does-
so much it Rick rolled me the other day.
That's awesome. Rick, go
Hey,
ahead, man.
Chris,
So
Does
I
Grok? Oh, go ahead.
Hold
I'm
on. Do I
sorry.
have two Ricks on the phone?
nope, you're good. Go ahead, Rick.
I was gonna say, does Grok break things down into projects where you can separate projects that you're working in, like ChatGPT does?
Yep. So what I have is, am I still sharing my screen? Bookmarks.
Yes. Bookmarks.
So in my-
okay, that's what it's
I
called.
can bookmark it and it can go like, hey, growth plan for EOS, manufacturers near, sales coaching. Like, here's my history. And then I also have my bookmarks where it actually like give me, so like I use this a lot for lacrosse practice plans.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's pretty remarkable how much you can learn yourself by just asking questions. All right. I went way long on that, Matt and Matthew, but I loved using this stuff. My day in prospecting, I open up my CRM and I open up Grok, and man, we get to work. Scott Long, did you have a question?
Nope, sorry, just not on mute.
Oh, okay. Did
One
somebody
of,
else
one
have a
of,
question?
one of the things, we got a question? So one of the things that I'm telling people, you have to constantly be asking yourself, can an AI do this task faster, or can I do this task faster with AI? And now that you know that those capabilities are out there, it's almost like you start to second guess everything that you're doing that you don't like doing, and that's a good thing. There's a tool that I use called Lindy. It's $50 a month, and you get on there, and it's like, here's all these agents that are ready to go. And then anything that you don't like, you can just say, can you create me an agent that does X, Y, and Z? So I have an agent that goes through my emails, reads every single one of them, and has drafted responses based on a knowledge base that I've given it. So it knows everything about me, everything about our business. And so now when I go into my email, I just see a bunch of drafted responses. And half the time I'm like, yep, sounds good. Yep, sounds good. Yep, sounds good. I built another agent that basically goes through a list of an Excel document. And I give a few criteria, fill this cell with this and that. And then I hit go. And I have a video of it. It wrote 70 prospecting emails based on just a few little credentials, and every single one of them is custom. And with that, I basically go and I just do a quick review of those emails, but it's done so much of the legwork. So that's the thing, that the more you use it, the more you begin to ask yourself, what else can it do? And so that's where the magic really begins to happen.
Awesome. Very good point. All right. I went long. And obviously, as a sales coach, I live on interaction. I live on coaching and training. So we're going to do more of these AI things. Bring questions you have to it. If there's something that we didn't cover, especially Kirk or Ryan, you guys kind of came off mute, turn your camera on. Brett, ask me. Reach out to Matt. Reach out to Matthew. And if we don't know the answers, we're going to Rick, because Rick knows sales, security, and marketing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a real quick one.
The trifecta.
Yeah, go ahead, Kirk.
Kirk.
So you guys mentioned agents. So I've been using ChatGPT, Grok. We're using it estimating sales. Everything you just did, I'm kind of doing. The lookup of the company and the location, I haven't done. I'm using it in estimating for creating cycle times, figuring out how to concept something simply by taking customer RFQs, copying it in, asking them to summarize the RFQ because it's full of a bunch of complicated data. Obviously, I'm a little hesitant. I'm putting some of my government contracts in there for multiple reasons, open source, etc. But it helps me like get to places, solutions quicker. Love it. But the one area that I keep missing, or I'm struggling, who do I talk to if I want to create my own agent? So I've got piles of data, silos of data. I just came from a conference down in Detroit. I was with a bunch of, it was a invite only. Basically, I was sitting with way larger than me. And we were all talking, one of the biggest topics outside of tariffs was AI. How does it work? Where is it at? Now, we talked today about a bunch of stuff that I've gone online and created, accounts with. Lindy, I have not. I'm going to be looking into that after this meeting. But you said the key word for me, which is agents. How do I create agents? And their conversations are, we have all this data. We've been collecting data. For me, it's in machines. I put sensors on every aspect of the machine to document that the cylinder gets hot, that the had a defect in this area, to create these silos of data to create individual agents. My problem is I don't know who to talk to about creating agents. I know what I want to do with. I have ideas, but I don't know who to talk to about
Kirk,
creating an agent on the
this is
silo
the
data.
Matthew Cleese question. Kirk,
Yeah.
Matthew guy.
Thanks.
Okay.
Kleist, by the way, it's German.
Kleist.
Hi.
No, you're good. So those so I got two answers for that question. So the first one is, depending on your compliance and regulation, how many compliance organizations you have you're accountable to. You can go about this one of two ways. The first one is, yeah, you can use a tool like Lindy or Base 44, where basically by prompting, you have a conversation with a chatbot within their program, and then it gets some clarity on exactly what agent you want to build. You go, it builds it, you test it, then you iterate on it. You go back to the agent builder and you say, all right, and it's got some tweaks we got to work out. It's a little bit of a painstaking process, but that's for creating high level stuff. Now, if you're talking about like serious compliance and regulation stuff, what I tell people is you need to work with an AI architect. And so AI architects are people who are basically formerly systems architects, people who built automations and systems from a high level and understand the legal compliance issues with it. So I've got, Matt, I don't know necessarily to what degree Grit takes that, but there are other people. I have some contacts that I work with who do like high level systems architecture for building robust customized agents. One little warning I would say is, if you are going to do something, assess, like I said, going back to, assess the cost, time, expertise, and just the overall investment that you're going to be putting into it. Because if the tool doesn't necessarily exist off the shelf right now, and it's not going to be something easy to create, it might in 3 to 6 months be more available to create. Does that make sense? Like a year ago, if I were to try to build an agent, the agents that I'm building now, I would have spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and trying to integrate APIs and all sorts of tool call functions to try and do something that now I can just do with a simple prompt. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
100%.
that's just part of the assessment. So Matt, you had
I'm
something else to say?
constantly finding myself in conversations. I don't care if it's an Autodesk Inventor, my engineering software, or Mastercam, or somebody's taking AI and applying it to their software. So the first thing I would tell anybody in this group, don't be afraid to contact services, softwares, directly find out what the next improvement is. They're usually integrating some type of AI tool that you're going to probably want to know.
Yep.
Yes.
I have full-blown AI up in engineering. If I wanted to customize something just based off of some parameters that I put in, it does it. I have it in Mastercam where I can tell it to, these are the tools I'm using, this is the machine I'm using, program my cutter path, boom, instantly, 80% there. I found that AI has gotten me 80% of the way. I can never get to 100. It seems like the human interaction portion of either reviewing the work it's done or giving it a few additional details matters, especially on like the larger platforms like Gronk and ChatGPT. But like creating an agent, it seems to be all around not just how you create it, but what you're feeding it or teaching it. Because I've had a lot of people with, these guys are in the billions of dollars of investment, are telling me about how they've created these agents, but one of the things that they're finding is that, crap information in, you get crap out. It's like you indicated earlier, you're working with an employee, not a tool. You're really educating this AI to become what you want it to be. So if you give it bad information or teach it the wrong thing, it just continuously does the wrong thing and it never just goes away. So large silos of data that I'm going through and scrubbing to try and get prepared for, I'm preparing, I don't even know who the person is. I'm preparing myself to be able to sit down with somebody, because that's what all these bigger companies are doing. They're basically taking all of their data, cleaning it up, making sure it's exactly what they want, then teaching some agent that somebody creates to do that task. I'm seeing it everywhere. I mean, the guys that were in the room with me were all 100 million plus, not individuals, not just companies. It was incredible to hear, almost kind of scary, to be honest. It was like giving me anxiety when I was learning about how much AI taps into it. It's crazy. And then I have another company. I build I do custom hats, shirts, apparel, and I'm a one-man band with a few young interns that come in, and I'm trying to get them opportunities in marketing and because I'm a sales guy as well, right? I came from sales, so I'm trying to train them and I'm watching. I have ChatGPT create a logo or content, so I don't have to have a graphics designer. I can tell it I want a logo for X in the theme of the 1980s, kind of like AC/DC, da 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 da, and it pops up an image. And then I can critique that image, and then I can export that into multiple different types of file types, and then put that into another AI generator that basically creates content around it and put it on a product and give me advertisements. It's incredible. Things that I want to post on Facebook. I'm really big on social media presence. The things that scare me are if you just go to Gronk or ChatGPT and you copy a URL for the person's website and you post it in there and say, tell me all about this company. It doesn't want to jump outside, go to the internet and go, it gives you a generic. It quickly looks at it and says, this is what it is. I found out that half of my summary was almost like it was make believe. That scared me.
Really?
So if you do that in ChatGPT, it gives you I based my summary off of the rough elements that were in it and I kind of filled in the rest. Whereas if you go to Gronk and do that, it's very accurate. Very accurate. So it depends on what platform you're working with, how they're moving that down. My thing is I need to be connected with smart people. So I'm hoping Grit, Matt, known you for a while, hit me up, tell me who I need to talk to. I want to sit down with somebody, understand things like Lindy and Base 44 that I already have pulled up on my computer. I want to know about it. I want to know who I need to talk to, and then I want to know how to get in touch with a AI architect, an AI architect. I'm highly interested in understanding that because I've got millions of dollars of data stored on engineering, stored in written ladder logic for PLCs. I want to know how I can take ladder logic and introduce more of a computer-based computer-based system into our products, but not have to hire somebody who has to know how to write a ton of custom code. You know what I mean? Those are types of things. Originally my side of the business, I'm creating all this custom equipment, creating a PLC panel shop that's basically going to allow a machine to run a sequence of operations, moving a cylinder, servo, robot, whatever it may be. And for years, I'd hire the best of the programmers that understood whatever PLC program that I'm doing, producing that ladder logic. At first, I talked to those individuals and they were scared that they were going to lose their job to somebody in Mexico or China or India who's doing what they're doing overseas. Now they're worried about AI because they're looking at me going, I can write custom code, no problem. Like anybody can pick up a computer and do it. And I'm looking at it going, well, how do all those people are going to probably become implementation. They're going to be on the shop floor proving out those custom codes that AI is probably going to be producing. That's blowing my mind, and I'm looking at how fast this is ramping up. In the last year, we went from people making jokes or saying, hey, write a rap song for Chemisol in the tone of Tupac, to I literally have guys figuring out that a machine with 60 operations and what the cycle time is per station with unique technologies from each. It's insane. It's to the point where I'm like, if I don't get ahead of this, I'm gonna fall behind quickly because anybody's gonna have that opportunity.
We just put together a quick custom software instead of buying a software. We just built our own software just by vibe coding. You know what I'm saying? So one thing too, though, I will say is all of the people who are the experts in those fields will still be relevant. The people who obviously are resistant to adopting the technology, they're going to fall to the wayside. But they say that an expert in their field can see the errors of the AI. So like, let's say, like a developer systems integrator, let's say from our perspective, they're like, wow, the AI just wrote the code for me. But to somebody who actually is an expert in their area, they're going to see all of the errors that it made. You know what I'm saying? So it's still relevant to bring those people in and still have them review. But the execution integration of it, you're right, is going to be largely automated.
I appreciate you guys letting me talk. Thank you.
That's what we're here for,
Love
man.
the input.
We're here to help.
That's great to hear the concern that you're having.
And we are fine going over time right now too. So if you guys want to stick around and have some more conversations here, we're definitely available for that. So Kurt, that's great stuff. I actually learned a lot just by hearing you talk, and I think we might have some people for you to talk to. I'm gonna check in with Matt as well and his resources as well. But
Yeah.
it's so new. Like literally yesterday, me and Rick were just talking about some stuff with some integrations with ChatGPT and Copilot that I had no idea about, and it's like that just changed yesterday. Like
I will say that.
yeah.
I will say this, if anybody hasn't played with it, because I sit there and talk to it all night and it's horrible. My wife actually, it will strain your relationship because they start think you're dating the AI. But
Unless it helps with
well,
you
it helps
communicating with your wife.
It does help with certain tasks. Like for example, my wife asked me that she wanted to update our landscaping. And my wife, I can tell her all I want about how I see something look at the front of our house. And so it was easy. I went into chat. So I used ChatGPT. I take a picture of my front of my house where the landscaping I wanted updated. Basically told it what I wanted for trees and colors and rocks and whatever. I had her describe it to me what she wanted. I put it in there, and then it produces an image of my house with fresh landscaping, slight modifications in certain areas of how it could have improved my house. But regardless, the landscaping was done. It was beautiful. I had a game plan. She agreed to it. I went over to the landscaper and had it all done a week later. So, and that argument would have lasted a month with me and my wife about what, Japanese maple she wants and where it's located. But it gave her a view or an image that she could use and go, oh, I know what you're talking about.
Right.
Stuff like that I use every day. Like I want to put a lean-to on the side of my building. What does that look like? Take a picture of the side of the building, tell it to do it, and boom, you've got this realistic view of something. So that is a really fun tool. And
or using the FaceTime features too. Gemini and GPT both have that. You pull open FaceTime and you can in real time, and you're in your kitchen. Hey, I got to make food for my kids. What do I got? And here's my pantry. Here's my fridge. All right, here's a cool mac and cheese recipe you can do with this. From what I just saw that you have. It's pretty cool.
I'm gonna do that for sure.
My wife is all in on AI. We're an AI adopted family, so my wife says it's her chef's helper. So she makes almost every meal with AI now.
Have you guys done?
But can you really get
tool?
a good feeling on a recipe if it doesn't tell you all about why her husband really never liked beans in the first place, and she wasn't quite sure if this was going to be as good as her grandma's recipe, and like 8 paragraphs about just get to the freaking recipe?
Yeah, that's fun.
It doesn't do that. It just jumps straight to the recipe.
Ryan N., what do you do for a living? You came on camera, but you haven't said anything.
Yeah, I've just been letting everybody kind of talk there. I'm in real estate in Southwest Florida, and I've been doing it for 20 years. And I've been trying to incorporate AI more into my business in the essence of saving time. So, a lot of times when I'm dealing with high-end properties, it takes a lot of time to put that description together and really hone it in to where the market is responsive to it. And I'm trying to get my team going more so with AI as well. Unfortunately, they're younger than myself, so they seem to be a little quicker with getting things accomplished. If it's a photo or enhancing something or getting things put together in a timely manner. So I kind of hopped on this call because Stacy happens to be a friend of mine like Chris's, and she said, maybe you want to hear what, these guys have to say, and that's why I got on. So I'm constantly looking at how to make my business better and more efficient, and that's really why I kind of got on this call today with you guys.
How large of a business, Ryan?
I mostly do real estate sales anywhere from, on an average 20 to 30 million a year in sales. The broker that I work with does typically, it depends, anywhere from 4 to 5 billion a year in sales. We're probably top 50th on average for a broker in the country. There's 700 to 800 of us. But, I'm an independent contractor, and I'm really trying to stay cutting edge and not fall behind. And I know with AI, there's a lot of people that are using it, and how can I make it most effective for my business, not just today, but in the future. And I jotted down a lot of the notes you guys had today. So I'm curious about Lindy and Base 44, creating the agents, and really even doing more video with AI and how I can incorporate that into my business, because I don't do as much video. Maybe I'm a little old school, but I know the importance of video. So I just appreciate the time in the comments, and I'm just trying to kind of be a sponge and learn today a little bit more.
Well, if you'd like to speak with us, yeah, I could gladly sit down with you via Teams meeting. I work with a couple of several other companies, and I help people use it. And actually, I'm a ChatGPT junkie. So one group I just work with, we organize their client communications into a project, their meeting notes into a project, office operations into a project, and even event planning. And I'm sure that those would be different for what you're doing, but how to actually use it, how to fine tune it to speak in your voice to where it actually becomes that teammate we're talking about. Okay. So if you wanted to schedule a meeting sometime next week or something, no commitment, just a quick hour, I'll show you what I'm doing and how I'm customizing it, and taking transcripts and having it analyze things for me, not a problem.
Yeah. One thing you can do is you can get pretty far. I don't know if you have any sort of a subscription to an LLM, but any of them give you an opportunity to train a customized one. And I don't know if you fill out a lot of forms or have to do a lot of communication, but like one of the shortcuts is you train a custom bot. It sounds difficult. It's extremely easy. And you feed it as part of its knowledge base. You just say, here's a form that like I have to fill out regularly, or here's something else. You give it all this information. So then you basically like I had set this up for a customer. Basically, you get off the sales call, you take the transcript, and you throw it in there, and you said, I need a quote, I need this form filled out, and I need a complete list of gear that I'll need for this job. And it just gives you all of that. You know what I'm saying? Something like that would save one person an entire day. You know what I'm saying? And that's just a quick shortcut. You could set that up in probably a couple hours.
Oh yeah.
You know.
And that's good to hear too, because I mean, I'm just bombarded with paperwork now. I mean, just in the world of real estate, I mean, it's just endless paperwork to where you feel like you're just choking on a tree. I mean, with how much paperwork we have in our business. So if I could cut down on the paperwork or make that more streamlined, that would be good as well.
A good start would be, and I like all of them, but ChatGPT's got a $20 a month subscription where you can create custom chatbots. It's a good start. If you have a lot of compliance issues, like Matt said in his talk, Copilot's good. I don't know what Copilot can do from a custom standpoint, but if you need more high regulation stuff, their enterprise levels, $200 a month, but that's on full lockdown. That's not open source anymore. You're talking full lockdown, and every single one of them offer some sort of a high security tier like that. But they're usually in the couple $100 a month range.
Okay, that's good. So yeah, I've been using Copilot and Chat GPT, and that's all I've really been using for the most part. But I've mostly been using it just with my property descriptions, because that's so important, you know, when I'm dealing with higher end properties, because, you know, normally the properties I'm working with, it might be, you know, a couple $1 million. And before that gets delivered to the market, I'm trying to make sure it's coming across, like I said earlier, as effectively as possible.
Right.
I will encourage you to start looking at Copilot a little more too, especially as ChatGPT is now integrating with it. So it's gonna be interesting to see even in the next few weeks as far as what that is actually going to look like. But I mean, I'm a ChatGPT fan. Copilot, I'm really starting to learn too. But what I've been really amazed by is the ecosystem that Microsoft is really making to where you will be able to not only create everything that you're talking about, but also it's being able to actually read your emails, be able to help you respond to things a lot quicker, really help with those sales initiatives, you know, prompting things exactly the way you need to speak and tailor. The big thing too is that it's going to integrate into your Teams information. So if you're using Microsoft Teams, for example, you have a meeting, it obviously will transcribe all of that, be able to create those notes and execute everything. So everything's becoming a holistic ecosystem, and with the added security and benefit within the Microsoft environment. That's pretty stinking cool. And it's going to make you that much more competitive as well. So there's something to take a look at.
That's good.
On there too.
That's really good, Matt.
Well, very good, guys. I appreciate the time. I'll make sure I get on the next one with you too. And Rick, I jotted down just your name and info, so I have that. This week's kind of busy, but maybe we will, you know, connect at another time. Okay.
Sounds good.
And Kirk, if you do need some contacts to AI architects, I can send you some information if you want to just connect with me on LinkedIn or something. So
that would be greatly appreciated.
Awesome, guys.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for your time.
Awesome, guys. We'll end with that. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us today. We will have recordings sent out to everybody, as well as a link to all the other information, slide deck info, all of that too. So thanks, guys. Have a wonderful day. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care.
Yep.
Bye.